Such brilliance. All right. Who was the Jehovah's Witness I was trying to talk to? Ricky, are you a Jehovah's Witness?
Mormon.
Oh yeah, so this wasn't for you. Genius, were you the Jehovah's Witness?
Yes, studying.
Also, oh yeah, studying. Okay.
Yep, yep.
All right. So you're studying to become a Jehovah's Witness?
Absolutely.
Okay. What's drawing you to study with those heretics?
Well, first of all, I don't consider them heretics. What's drawing them or me to them is, you know, I had questions growing up about Christianity, and studying has answered a lot of them.
Oh,
So, yeah, the biggest one I think that really answered for me was the fact that, where we go when we die, right? So, growing up, and I was in Pentecostal, I don't know what your background is, but growing up in Pentecostal, we were always taught we go to heaven,
Yeah.
right?
So they teach you that you blank out, you cease to exist, right? When you die.
Yeah, yeah. So,
And that makes sense to you?
yeah, what made sense to me? What do you mean? What are you
Socially.
asking me?
That you cease to exist when you die.
No. What I was taught was that we're resurrected. That's what I'm studying. So
Okay.
yeah, I don't know what you mean about blank out, but what I was talking about was the Pentecostals. What they taught me was I go to heaven. There's a pearly gate, and there's Tupac is up there and Biggie. But there's not really any.
Who told you that?
I mean, you see it everywhere, right? I mean, it's not really any,
What does the Bible say? What does the Bible say?
intelligence behind it.
I
So
don't hold on, because you said that you had questions about Christianity. What does Tupac and Biggie have to do with Christianity?
no. In other words, what I'm saying is, when it comes to heaven, what they show you is that it's just a default place that you go to. Pretty much everyone, goes to heaven if you just accept that Jesus Christ is your savior, right? That's what Christianity taught me.
So you're saying that
And
when you
it
die, you're saying
literally,
that when
it
they teach
literally,
one second, brother. You're
yeah, yeah,
saying
yeah,
that when you die,
yeah.
they're teaching that you don't like you don't exist anymore. Is that right? Before the resurrection.
In Pentecostal,
No, I'm talking about Jehovah's
are you asking?
Witnesses.
Oh, you're talking about Jehovah's Witness. That's a different belief. What I was referring to is what I was taught as a Pentecostal.
I know.
Right.
So I'm asking you about what you're learning from Jehovah's Witnesses. Are they telling you that you cease to exist when you die until the resurrection?
Yeah, I mean, you cease to exist in the sense of you're dead. There's
Right.
no thought or, activity in Sheol, right?
Right.
I don't know if you've heard that before.
Yes, I've heard their doctrine. I know their doctrine.
Okay.
I want to get your thoughts on this real quick. This is Revelation chapter 6,
Mhm. Yep.
verse 9. It says, when he opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of those who had been slain because of the word of God and the testimony they had maintained.
Mhm.
They called out in a loud voice, "How long, sovereign Lord, holy and true, until you judge the inhabitants of the earth and avenge our blood?"
Mhm.
Then each of them was given a white robe, and they were told to wait a little longer until the full number of their fellow servants, their brothers and sisters, were killed just as they had been.
Mhm.
So you have martyrs, saints, brothers and sisters in the faith who were killed for proclaiming the gospel, and they are before the throne of God, crying
Mhm.
out to him, asking, when will you take vengeance upon the people who unalived us?
Well, I
So
mean,
how
I,
does
I
that
don't
work?
I don't know that I understand it that way, and to be honest with you, maybe I never got to this part of understanding on this part. But when you read it, I think of the situation with Cain and Abel, right? and how Abel, was slain. And Jehovah spoke to Cain and said, "Your brother's blood cries out to me." I don't think that he meant that literally. He meant it figuratively.
Yeah,
So
notice the difference is saying that Abel's blood cries out to me
yeah,
versus the souls themselves having a conversation back and forth with the Lord.
right. I
Two
mean,
different things.
yeah, I mean, but to me, this seems like it's a spiritual, not literal conversation, more of a
It is. It's a literal conversation. When he opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls, not just the blood, the
right,
soul, the people of
right. And
those
this
who had been
this is
slain.
John, right?
Yeah.
This is John, and this, I believe, he was having a vision, and a lot of this has to be deciphered. It's not actually everything is literal.
Well, here's the thing. When you see stuff like, for example, him seeing that Christ has a tongue of like a sword,
Right,
obviously that's figurative. You ain't even got it.
right,
We got common sense. But
right.
when the Lord tells him, "Hey, write to the church in Smyrna," that's
Hmm.
literal, right? That's not.
Okay.
There's nothing ambiguous about that. So we
Hmm.
see in the context when something is literal, when something is figurative. This right
Hmm.
here, he's telling us what's going to happen when
Hmm.
these seals are opened and what happens specifically when the fifth seal is opened and what he
Right, but
saw. He saw a
yeah, and if you
conversation with the martyrs and the Lord.
right, and if you scroll up just to that, verse right above it, it says, "When he opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth living creature saying, 'Come.'" So if this hasn't happened yet,
Mhm,
or if these things haven't occurred,
mhm.
then wouldn't this be figurative? I mean, is
No,
there really a
it's
fourth?
future.
There's a fourth living creature, and then
Yes.
is it
There's
going to be a pale horse, and its
yes.
rider is actually going to be deaf? So who's deaf?
Well, here's the thing though. Notice when you're talking about things that are happening in the future, that doesn't mean
Hmm.
it's figurative just because it's future tense, right?
Right, but I'm just saying,
Okay.
like, in other words, this saying there's a rider named Death, and Hades was following close behind him.
Mhm.
I mean, that to me doesn't, sound like a literal thing. It sounds
Okay.
like, a figurative thing.
I understand, meaning that death is coming with him. He's bringing death and plague, right? Which is what it says. They were given power over the fourth, over the earth to kill by the sword, famine and plague, and by the wild beasts of the earth, right?
Right.
So we
Right.
see what that means. Here,
Yep.
we don't see figurative language. We see detailed, critical language, explicit language with
Hmm.
a conversation being had
Okay.
between the
And then,
souls that were martyred and the Lord.
that could be true. And maybe I just don't understand this. You know what I mean? But
How do you?
looking at this here, it says, "How long, sovereign Lord, holy and true, until you judge the inhabitants of the earth and avenge our blood?" So, like you said, this could be in the future.
This is in the future.
So, yeah, so this could be at some point he's talking to someone standing, before the throne, like it says,
No,
and
brother.
asking,
They're
yeah,
dead. They're dead. It says, when he opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the
hmm,
souls of those who had been slain
right.
because of the word of God and the testimony that they had maintained. They're dead, brother.
Could
Speaking with
this
the Lord.
could this have been the 144,000 that are
Nope.
resurrected?
Nope. These are the
I mean,
gospel.
if it's in the
144,000 are
future,
Jews.
if it's in the future and he's talking to them, I mean that's just my understanding. I mean,
Brother,
especially if
you,
they're
you,
given a
you do
if they're
you do
given a
understand they're
white
dead,
robe.
right? You do understand they're dead, right?
Well, I believe they were resurrected, right?
But they're not though, because remember he says, okay, let's just look at this closely.
Hmm.
I saw under the altar the souls
Hmm.
of those who had been slain.
Had.
Yep. Meaning they were
Okay.
slain. And so this is where their souls are now. They're at the altar of God in the heavenly realm.
So they're in the spiritual realm, and
Mhm.
they can't be souls in the spiritual realm.
Why
They
not? That's
have to
just
be
what they are.
they have to be spirits.
That's what they are.
Spirits.
Yes. Souls
So
is like their mind, their
so I
personhood.
don't know if you understand, and maybe that's where we're kind of getting off track.
Do you
So
agree that they're slain?
yeah, I would agree
Okay.
that they would be slain.
Do you agree that nothing
mhm.
has happened, like the vengeance that has come to them, none of that has happened because more are to be slain just that they have been?
Yeah, it says their brothers and sisters were killed.
We're
Just
going hold on.
were killed. It sounds in the
Yes.
past, right?
All right, so hold on. I need you to pay attention, brother, please. Then he says, then each of them was given a white robe, and they were told to wait a little longer.
Mhm,
Because remember, they're asking, when are you going to act on our behalf? When are you going to do something? When are you
mhm,
going to avenge us?
mhm.
They were told to wait a little longer
Ah,
until
okay.
the full number of their fellow servants, their brothers
Yes.
and sisters, were killed just as they had been.
Yep, I see.
Right. So they have to wait. There's no vengeance yet. There's not even the
Mhm,
resurrection yet. That stuff happens later. They have to wait until the time is full.
right.
Okay. So
Mhm,
this is a conversation with these martyred souls that God is having with them.
mhm. So he's having a conversation with, at least from my understanding, this would be the 144,000.
Okay. So if you want to say that this is the 144,000, you
Mhm.
can at least agree that there are souls that are still active and conscious in the spiritual realm, even after they die, right?
Um, I would say that these particular persons have transitioned to a spiritual realm. Yes.
Okay. So now let's talk about real quick. Let's talk about Watchtower Society theology, because this is kind of a side note that we get to when but we got to start with Jesus, because you get Jesus wrong as they done, then everything is wrong as we see. So beginning with Jesus, did they teach you about Jesus yet? Are they taking you through the what does the Bible really teach book?
Yeah. Well, let me let you know. I've been studying for 25 years, so it's not
Oh,
like I'm new.
so you are a Jehovah's Witness.
You might as well say I've been studying for a long time. I just never got baptized.
Got you.
Just to be honest with you. So,
Okay, why haven't you got baptized yet?
uh, it's a personal thing I'm working on. Myself and trying to get myself right. So that's kind of why I haven't done it. Not because I don't believe the faith. So,
Got you. Okay. So you do believe that the Watchtower is God's prophet on earth, is Jehovah's vice regent and spokesman here on earth, the faithful and discreet slave?
yes, I do believe that.
Okay. So you believe that they received direct revelation from Jehovah and to convey it?
Um. Well, that I don't know, but what I will say is
That's what they
that
claim.
they're guided, by Jehovah, but they're also human, right? Everyone can make mistakes, but
Can
go
it,
ahead.
can you can you make mistakes as guided by Jehovah? Like if you're giving doctrine that you're claiming you get from Jehovah,
I think Jonah did, right?
did Jonah run in the name of Jehovah?
He gave a false prophecy.
Jonah?
Yeah,
What
he
false
was
prophecy
wrong.
did Jonah give?
He gave a prophecy and he was wrong.
What false prophecy did he give?
I believe it was about the destruction and when it would happen. I forget what it was. I'm going off of memory, but I remember reading a situation where he said something and it wasn't true, and it wasn't what Jehovah had told him.
You gotta show me that, brother. Where does that happen? Because
I would
that
have to, yeah. Let me see if I could search for it. Hold on one second.
Watchtower Society, man. Messes you guys up, bro. What? Jonah had a false prophecy. Incredible.
Now, this is not something that was taught to me. Just to be clear, by the Watchtower. So, just this
Okay.
is my own study. So.
So are you going to the book of Jonah to see if he gave a false
Yeah, I'm
prophecy?
going into the Bible now. Pulling up the Bible. I think it was Jonah 3:4.
And then the word of the Lord came to Jonah the second time, saying, Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and call against it the message that I tell you. So Jonah arose, went to Nineveh, according to the word of Jehovah. Now Nineveh was exceedingly a great city, 3 days' journey in breadth. Jonah began to go to the city, going a day's journey, and he called out, Yet 40 days, and Nineveh shall be overthrown. And the people of Nineveh believed God. They called for a fast and put a sackcloth from the greatest of them to the least of them. The word reached the king of Nineveh, and he arose from his throne, removed his robe, covered himself in sackcloth, and sat in ashes. And he issued a proclamation and published through Nineveh by the decree of the king and the nobles, Let neither man nor beast, herd nor flock taste anything. Let them not feed or drink, but let man and beast be covered, and let them call out mightily to God. Let everyone turn his evil way from violence that is in his hands. Who knows? God may turn and relent and turn from his fierce anger so that we may not perish. When God saw what they did, how they turned from their evil way, God relented from the disaster that he had said he would do to them, and he did not do it.
Yep.
How is that a false prophecy?
Well, he initially said only 40 days, right? And they will be overthrown. That's what he initially said.
The warning, because they were doing evil. Once they turned from their sins, God showed mercy.
But that changed. But that changed, right? So, in other words, his interpretation, his understanding of what was going to happen when he said it, it changed.
How is that a false prophecy, though?
That's what I'm saying. It's a change. It's God, something that changes, right?
Are you saying that when God says he's going to punish Israel, and then Israel repents and relents, and then God shows mercy instead of bringing disaster on him that he said he would do, did he lie? Is that a false prophecy?
No, God didn't lie. No. Okay. But what I'm saying is Jonah, he's the one that gave that word, right?
It's Jehovah that gave him that word.
Right, but he's the one saying.
He's just repeating what Jehovah said to him.
He's repeating what Jehovah said. Now, if something happened to him, right, if something happened to him, right, and he never got to finish from what they heard, it would have been 40 days they were going to die. In other words,
hold on.
Yeah.
We understand that Jehovah gave him the word, right?
Right.
So these are Jehovah's words, not Jonah's, right?
Right.
And then when the people received the word of Jehovah, they immediately turned from their sin and turned to Jehovah, correct?
Right.
So when Jehovah threatened them with destruction, but instead gave them mercy because of their repentance, did Jehovah lie?
No, Jehovah did not lie.
Okay, so this isn't
but
a false.
Jonah was wrong, right?
How is Jonah wrong when he's repeating what Jehovah said?
In other words, he's giving what Jehovah said, right?
So Jehovah that means that Jehovah was wrong.
No, Jehovah was not wrong at all. No, I'm not saying that.
Pause, because I'm getting confused. I'm getting confused here. You agree that these are not Jonah's words; these are Jehovah's words, right?
Correct.
And so Jonah is just quoting Jehovah.
Right.
So if Jonah's wrong, that means Jehovah's wrong because he's just quoting Jehovah, right?
Right. If that was the case, yes, correct.
Is that not the case?
No, he's not. Jehovah's not wrong at all.
No. You're not.
What I'm saying is from man's perspective.
Because I feel like you're not being honest. I feel like you're playing games with me or something.
Yeah, no, I'm not playing games with you, brother.
Okay,
what I'm saying is,
is Jonah speaking verbatim the words of Jehovah, or are these Jonah's words?
No, these are definitely verbatim the words of Jehovah.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, and try to clear it up. What I'm saying is that if someone was to hear that and misinterpret it, and let's just say someone lived at that city, right?
Brother, please. I'm trying to, because I'm
trying to explain.
It's later in my stream, and so I don't have the same patience that I had in the beginning.
I got you, brother.
Okay. I'm just trying to stick straight to the point.
Yep.
Can we just agree that this was not a false prophecy because Jehovah actually he showed mercy because they repented?
Yes, we can agree on it.
Okay. So I want to try to get to some meat of the matter, okay, about Jesus,
Hmm.
right? So you said you already been studying a long time, years. So you
Hmm.
already been through, you know what they teach about Jesus.
Yes.
All right. So in regards to Jesus, it's Watchtower theology that
Mhm.
Jesus used to be Michael the archangel before he took on flesh, right?
Correct.
Okay. And when he took on flesh, he ceased to be a spirit person. He ceased to be Michael the archangel,
Hmm.
was created as the human Jesus now, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then when he dies, he then gets recreated again as Michael the archangel once again. Is that right?
Right. I believe so. Yeah, I believe the reason I would say that maybe, there's some difference in there, I guess, was, after he was, um, brought back to life, there was a period in there where he ascended to heaven. So that period, he still had a humanly body, I guess you would say.
I got you. So post his death, he's
Hmm.
no longer human. He's now the archangel Michael, right?
Right. But he was given, a new title and new authority. So yes. But yeah,
He's
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 still
he's Michael with a new authority.
he's Michael with new authority. With
Okay. He's no longer Jesus,
his exalted. Yep.
and he's no longer Jesus.
Well, I mean, his work on earth as Jesus is still with him. He
Yeah,
can't
but he's no
ever lose
longer.
that.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the work, but I'm talking
Yeah.
about the person Jesus, that human person Jesus. He's no longer that person. He's no longer Jesus anymore after death.
Um, no, after death, he gained that work that he did defines him. You know what I mean? So he still is Jesus in a sense. You
So
know what
I'm
I mean?
no. So your work doesn't say who you are, right? Like my work doesn't tell me who I am. My works can show what I represent or what I
Right.
came to do, whatever. But my
Hmm.
personhood is just who I am.
Hmm.
So I'm asking: is the human person Jesus still existing after his death, or did he cease to be Jesus and
Okay.
is now Michael the archangel
Got you.
again?
The physical. So here's what I believe:
Mhm.
the physical body was destroyed.
Okay.
Jesus and Michael are one. He has become, ascended to his Father. He never lost his works as Jesus. It's still him.
Okay. He never lost his works as Jesus.
Right.
Is he still the person Jesus, brother?
Yes. He's still the person Jesus.
He's still the person Jesus.
Hmm.
And before he became Jesus in the flesh, he was still the person Jesus and Michael before he was born.
No, he just had a human name that was given to him while he was a human.
Okay.
It's just a different name.
All right.
I mean, that's what I believe. It's just a different name. It's almost the
Oh,
same
I'm a
as
little I'm a little
yeah.
confused.
Hmm.
Because okay. Did Jesus cease to be Michael when he was born as a human?
When Jesus was born as a human, he ceased to be a spiritual creature.
Got it. So he was only a physical creature, a human physical creature. He was no longer Michael the archangel.
Correct.
All right. So since he's no longer Michael the archangel, right?
Hmm.
He's just the human.
Hmm.
My question is this: when Jesus says things like, before Abraham was, I am, or in your translation,
Hmm.
it would say, I have been.
Yeah.
This is Jesus the man saying this.
Hmm.
How could that be if that's not the case? Because he did not pre-exist. He was not there. Michael was there. He's
Hmm.
Jesus. He's not Michael. So how could he say that and not be a liar?
Well, the whole purpose of what he did was to take on this different form, this human form. Now, as human, he's human physically, yes, but his men, his conscience, his memories, those things are things that he didn't lose.
But that's not. He's not Michael anymore, though. He's not. He's literally not Michael.
I mean,
So
you could say, I mean, I guess you could say that, in
right.
a
So
way.
So even if he had the memories of Michael, let's say
Hmm.
that let's say memories of Michael were transmitted to the mind of Jesus,
Hmm.
Jesus is still a completely different entity. He's a completely different person than Michael,
Hmm.
right? So
Hmm.
he still can't rightly say before Abraham was I am because or I have been because he never was there. Michael was there, not Jesus.
Well, I mean, if he's referring to his heavenly spiritual form, yeah,
But he's not referring to his
I
spiritual
don't
form.
see a problem with.
He's
Yeah,
referring to himself. He says, I, Jesus, I am, I've been.
right. It's the same person,
Right.
right?
So Jesus, as we
Just a
just
different
agreed,
name.
no. Because remember, we just said that Jesus is no longer the person Michael when he took on flesh. They're completely different
I,
persons.
he's a different body, right? A different body, a physical body.
So then he's still the same spirit creature, Michael?
He can't be spiritual and physical. He had to be one or the other.
Exactly. That's what you guys are saying. So either
Hmm.
he's still the spirit creature Michael in flesh,
Hmm.
or he's no longer Michael anymore. He's just a straight up human being named Jesus who
Hmm.
just has the memories of Michael.
Well, all right. So when God made Adam, right? He made
Mhm.
Adam in his own image. Now, does that mean that Adam was a spiritual creature?
Nope.
He was just human. He was just flesh. So it's the same thing. If we're talking about Jesus, who is a creator, he can obviously make himself into, I mean, we're just saying, what he can do. He can make himself into a human and live as a human,
That then
100%.
that would mean that he is still the spirit person who just incarnated in the flesh. He's still that
Well,
spirit person, but prior to his flesh.
it wouldn't, no, because he would have to be 100% human, right?
So are you saying this is what I'm saying? He
Hmm.
can't be the creator of the heavens and the earth, or the agent by which Jehovah
Hmm.
created all things, a
Hmm.
spirit creature, incarnate into flesh, and
Hmm.
not still be that spirit. If he incarnates into flesh and
No,
just takes on
no,
a
yeah,
human form,
absolutely,
he's Michael.
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely,
So you're
absolutely.
saying he's not Michael in human flesh. He's a completely different being than Michael. He's a
Right.
completely
Okay.
different
I see what
person
you're
than
saying. In
Michael.
a sense, Michael died. Let's just say
Right.
that. Yeah. Let's
Right.
say in a sense, Michael
Okay.
died.
All right.
Yeah.
So in a sense, Michael died. Michael is no more. Okay.
Hmm.
Michael doesn't come back until after the resurrection when he gets recreated again. Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Hmm.
So Michael is no more. We have this
Hmm.
person, Jesus, now.
Yep.
So when Jesus says that he was there before
Hmm.
Abraham, he's
Hmm.
lying because he wasn't.
No, no, no. He wouldn't be lying. He's
How is he
he's
not be lying?
he's given his memories from Jehovah, right?
If I you do you have you watched some sci-fi movies at all?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'm a big
Okay. So
fan.
you've seen, yeah, me too, man.
Anime. So
Me and my
yeah.
okay, okay. You know, I knew I liked you. So me and my wife, we love sci-fi, we love anime, we love this stuff.
Yep.
Okay. We see movies all the time where, let's say, for example, a person has their memories
Yep.
transmitted to, let's
Yes.
say, a robotic body, or
Yeah.
um,
An
yeah,
android or
to,
something.
to
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
android or something like
Cyborg
that,
or
right?
whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, this is the interesting thing.
Hmm.
Having their memories transferred,
Hmm.
but they die.
Hmm.
They die,
Hmm.
right? That android isn't really them. They just have their memories. They're not the
Right.
same person. The person died. He moved on.
Hmm.
But because of the memories that are implanted in the android, it can
Right.
kind of give this appearance that they are the same person when really they're not. Would you agree?
I see what you're saying, but from my perspective, it's just like this. Jehovah has all of us in his memory, right? So, like you said, you like anime, you like, science fiction. Think of Jehovah as the biggest, database. And he even said he can count the hairs on our head. So he remembers he created our DNA. So he knows the code. He can restore us, bring back consciousness, memory, all of that. If you think about all the people that have died, and Revelations says that they're going to come back, how are they going to come back? Obviously, Jehovah has some memory of them. And it even says in the Bible that we're stored in his memory.
Okay. So you didn't answer my question though. Would you
Oh,
agree
I'm
that
sorry.
the Android is not the, let's say my memories get transmitted to an Android, that the
Mhm.
Android is not me. The Android is not me. Would you agree?
Well, I wouldn't say that, because I would say consciously it is.
So there's two me's.
If
So
there's
there's
a
two me's,
continuation of your consciousness, then yeah.
but it's not. It just has my memories.
Hmm.
My consciousness, I died, but my
Right.
memories were placed in an Android.
Yeah.
So it's not a conscious being. It just has my memories in its
Right.
function.
Right.
So is it the same person as me?
In that instance, no, because we're talking about science fiction and we're not talking about God.
But you brought this example. So when it comes to this, you
Yeah.
can have memories of someone transmitted to something else,
Right.
but that doesn't mean that the personhood is being transmitted to something else. Just its memories.
I follow you. Yeah. I
Okay.
mean,
Because
that,
your memories aren't you, right?
right. I
If I
understand what
lost
you're
my
saying.
memories, I'm still the same person. I just lost
Right.
my memories, right? Okay.
Right.
I'm still the same soul, same spirit or whatever.
Uh-huh.
So Michael's memories, is what you're saying, it's
Mhm.
transmitted to this human Jesus as a baby.
Mhm.
But the baby is not Michael himself.
I would say not in the sense of name,
Okay.
but and I would have to say even.
I'm not his name. I'm talking about the spirit person Michael.
Mhm.
Who that is
Mhm.
that Jesus or not?
It has to be. Yeah, it has to be Jesus. Yeah.
All right. So this is the problem, okay?
Mhm.
In the Watchtower Society, it teaches that Jesus is
Mhm.
not a spirit person who just was wrapped in flesh or just transmitted or incarnated in the flesh, like what you're saying it has to be.
Mhm.
It's not. He's a completely different human person. So,
Okay.
here's
I mean, as far as
it,
what I've been taught, I
Mhm.
don't know what that, where you heard that from, but what I've been taught is that Jesus is, Michael as a human.
yeah, they say no. So look, it says, the fleshly body of Jesus. When Jesus was on earth, was he really fully a human creature? Was he
Mhm.
altogether a man? Or was he an incarnation?
Mhm.
Part man and part spirit, right? Was he Michael and,
Right.
human divinity clothed with a
Mhm.
fleshly body and appearing to be human, but yet partly spiritual, divine, right?
Mhm.
The scriptures abound with evidence that Jesus was God's high priest and underwent temptations such as humans are susceptible to.
Right.
Does it not seem unreasonable that Christ Jesus would practice deception or would appear to be something that he really was not?
Right.
Would it not be a deception for the Son of God in the flesh to claim to be suffering all the temptations and undergoing all hardships to prove himself to be worthy of high priest for mankind and really
Mhm.
not be a man, but be above the possibilities of human temptation and sin?
Mhm.
He says Jesus was on earth to prove his blameless integrity,
Okay.
to be the perfect answer to Satan's challenge that Jehovah God could not put men on the earth who would be faithful under the devil's assaults. If he was not a man, would he not have failed to answer Satan's challenge? Jesus, God's only begotten son, the word became flesh.
Mhm.
The apostle John says the word became flesh. Yes, he was no incarnation or materialization of a spirit person to a fleshly body, parading as a man during his 33 and a half year residence on the earth in
Right.
the flesh.
Okay. I think I see what this means. Like, in other words, you remember how, well, even if we look further, like we look at the demons, how they possessed that man.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's what that's referring to. And even if you look at the angels when they came down, right? It's a little different because they had this divine power and they were able to be human, but they weren't really human. So this is a different situation.
Who?
Huh?
Who did you say?
The angels, the fallen angels, right? You've heard the story of the fallen angels, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
What about them?
Well, I mean, as they came down as actual human creatures. I mean, They had to be human, I would think, if they had sex with women and had children, right? So they had to have some sort of physical, humanity.
So we're not talking about possession. This
Right.
says
Not possession and
yeah,
not like,
not an
you know,
incarnation or a materialization of a spirit
which would
person
have been
to a
right.
fleshly body. So
Right.
the spirit person of Michael was not
Mhm.
materialized or incarnated to a fleshly body.
Right. No, absolutely
So
not. Not
so,
not like
so
not
Jesus was
like
not the person Michael.
he was the person,
It
Michael.
says he wasn't.
He
So
was. His consciousness, his spirit was transferred into.
so is this wrong? Is the Watchtower wrong?
It says he wasn't an incarnation or materialization of a spirit person to a
To
fleshly
a
body,
fleshly body,
right?
which is what you're
That
saying.
would be like what angels did in the past,
No,
right? When they came
no,
down and they had, sex with humans, and the
Notice what it
Nephilims
says
came
here.
about.
Notice what it says here, because you're arguing an incarnation or a materialization of the spirit person Michael to a
Hmm.
fleshly body. At
Hmm.
first, earlier you said Michael died in a sense, but
Right,
here you're saying no, Michael actually was alive. He was Jesus in just human form.
right. Because an incarnation
Yes,
incarnation isn't
brother.
born.
How do you know? How do you not know what you don't? It's like you don't listen to yourself.
Yeah,
You said earlier Michael died in a sense.
in
Now
a
you're
sense.
saying that Michael actually was still existing as a human in Jesus.
Right. He was reborn as a baby.
So this says he
Right.
was not a spirit person.
It says he
No,
was not an incarnation or materialization.
of a spirit person to a fleshly body, which is what you're saying is what happened.
A baby is born.
Who is the baby born? Is it
Right.
Michael or is it Jesus?
It's Jesus and Michael, right?
Boom.
His
So
name
there's two persons in there.
his name is Jesus on earth, but his person is the same person that was in the spirit realm.
Yeah. So this is what I'm seeing. What's happening? What I'm seeing is what happened is it's actually kind of what I see. What happens with Muslims? I show Muslims what their scholars say, what their hadith says, what their prophet says, and they definitely, will take it and they'll ignore it or reinterpret it and add stuff to it.
Mhm.
What I'm doing with you is, and I'm not saying this is, I say this in love. Like obviously we disagree and stuff like that, but I gotta be real with you.
Mhm.
What I'm saying with you is you're double talking. In one way, you said Michael died, ceased to exist. Then you have just the human body Jesus, the human person Jesus.
Mhm.
Then you flip-flopped and said, well, no, Jesus is Michael the archangel in a human body.
Right.
So I need to know which one it is, bro.
Yeah, I hear you. And, I can see how it could be confusing. But, just like you say, someone was reborn as something else, right? You said you like anime. There's a nice anime called Reborn. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's about this, this baby with a pacifier, and he's actually a hitman, and he gets one of the it's crazy anyway. But
he had a past life, right?
Yeah, and he gets reborn.
So he's the same person.
Right. He's reborn, but he doesn't have memory.
Is Michael reborn? Or is Jesus a different person?
This Jesus is Michael reborn.
Okay. So Jesus is a spirit person in flesh.
See, I think that's the problem, because it doesn't have to be one or the other, right?
Brother, it is. It literally is. It's either Jesus is a spirit person in the flesh or he's not. It's not, there's no middle.
Are you a spirit person in the flesh?
No. I am not, and when I say spirit person, I'm not a pre-existent angel or divine being that then took on flesh.
Right.
If you mean am I a spirit that occupies a body? Sure. But that's not what Jehovah's Witnesses mean by spirit person, spirit creature, right?
Right. It's a heavenly being, right? Yes. A divine heavenly being.
So they're saying that's not what Jesus is. No, he was no incarnation or materialization of a spirit person to a fleshly body, parading as a man.
Okay. I would have to honestly do more research on this, because from what I thought, and what I was taught, it was that he was reborn as a human, period.
I got you. So we see that that's wrong according to Watchtower Society.
I see your point. Yes.
Okay. Now here's my last thing. Okay, because this is important about Jesus and his body.
Hmm.
Okay. Let's see here. The fact that Jesus was not an incarnation or materialization is proved by the cases where his body tired and was refreshed by rest and food.
Hmm.
My goodness. So they're just continuing to show he's not a spirit person. Hold on. Let me see here.
Yep.
Jesus sacrificed his perfect human life. Jesus would sacrifice his perfect human life as a ransom for the sins of all mankind. Now, God would not accept a sacrifice that had any blemish or fault in it, but that only that was perfect. Therefore, we can see that the 30-year-old Jesus,
Hmm.
the 30-year-old Jesus, although he ate the food that was eaten by the people of this day, was not deteriorated in body by it, but remained perfect. Do you see how they're emphasizing how he was just strictly human?
Yeah.
They're even talking about the 33-year-old Jesus. He only lived for 33 years. He was only alive for 33 years.
Yes. Yep.
But if he's the spirit person, Michael, he lived much longer than that, obviously.
Well, I mean, I did saying as a human, that's what they're referring to.
They're saying that that's all he was. This is the point.
Right. I mean, in other words, and I guess the whole point behind this is that in order for Jesus to be a sacrifice, he has to pay that ransom as a human, right?
Mhm.
So he had to become a human. There's no way around it.
It doesn't. Okay, bro. What happened to the perfect fleshly body of Jesus after his death? Was it preserved so that in time men will look upon it in worship? Or does Jesus still have this fleshly body in the heavens, spiritualized, so that it can be seen and be worshiped? Neither. The scriptures answer, it was disposed of by Jehovah God, dissolved into its constituent elements or atoms.
Yeah. I mean, I think that makes sense, because
It
think
does.
about it. Yeah, in a sense, you're destroying the spiritual creature and you're birthing them as a human creature.
And
Those are
so
two different things.
now the human creature dies, and now the birth of the spirit creature comes about, right?
He brings that spirit creature back from his memory. Yes.
So the human creature is now gone, right?
Correct.
Okay. So the human creature is now gone. Now, let me show you why this is a huge, huge problem. He's no longer Jesus after his death. Body gone, humanity gone, just spirit creature, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let me do it. Let me do it this way. A few problems. A couple of angles we can go with this. We got. Do you prefer a New World Translation, or does it matter?
It doesn't matter. You could do whatever.
Okay. Since I just have this here, I'm gonna just use this. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna use ESV.
Okay.
English Standard Version. It's not what I pushed. Okay. Now, this is in Revelation. This is in heaven, right? This is post-resurrection.
Mm-hmm.
You know the context. Jesus says to John, I, Jesus, have sent my angel to testify to you about these things for the churches. I am the root and the descendant of David, the bright and morning star.
Okay.
According to Jehovah's Witness theology, this is a lie. How can he be Jesus when Jesus is gone? Evaporated. Body gone. He's no longer human. He's now the spirit person, Michael now. He's not Jesus anymore. But in Revelation, while he's in heaven, post-resurrection, he's claiming to be Jesus, but not just be Jesus, but he's still claiming to be the root and descendant of David. How can he be the descendant of David if he's not human anymore?
Right. Like I said, if someone, or we're talking about spiritual creatures, we're talking about Jehovah, we're talking about some powerful things that are happening, right? A spiritual creature is being reborn as a human. his name is still his name. You know,
No, it ain't.
he doesn't lose that when he dies, even if he's
No,
reborn, even if he's reborn in a
brother.
spiritual body,
His
it's
humanity
still
is gone. His humanity is gone. You said it.
yes.
He's no
Yeah,
longer Jesus. He's Michael now. He's no
right,
longer Jesus. And then we're not talking about name. We're talking about his nature. He is no
right,
longer a human being anymore. Right?
right, right.
Okay. So he cannot then come and say, I, Jesus, not
Hmm.
I, Michael, I,
Hmm.
Jesus, have
Hmm.
sent my angel to testify to you about these things. I
Okay.
am the root and the
Hmm.
descendant of David. He
Right.
cannot be a descendant of David if he's no longer human, man.
You know what? He's the root because he was spiritual. He's the one
No,
who, yeah.
the root is about your descendants. It's your ancestry, bro. That's what
But
the
how,
root and descendants
okay,
is.
so then if he's a root is something that starts from the ground, right?
No,
And if
for example,
he's the root of
do you know
David.
do you know the root
He's
of Jesse? Do you know the verses about the root of Jesse?
yes, yeah.
So you know that means a descendant of his, right?
Well, no, the root is the ancestor. The
No,
branch
it's a
is the
descendant.
descendant.
Lord have mercy. Okay, man. I'll just get your last thoughts on this, and then I'll wrap up. So,
Mhm.
how is he still a descendant of David if he's no longer human?
Like I said, if he's referring to the root is what
He
gave
says,
birth
"I
to
am the
David.
root and
Yep.
the offspring, the descendant of David." How is he
Right.
a descendant if he's no longer human?
How can he be the root if he was spiritual when
He
David
can't be.
was
He can't be the
born?
root if he's not human. He can't be a descendant if he's not human.
But he wasn't David's physical father.
Hey, brother.
Yeah.
Do me this favor, man. Look up what the root of Jesse is, what that
Okay.
means, and maybe we'll talk in the future. But
Yep.
I gotta go.
All right.
Take care.
Take care.
And write that down in the blue book.